Quadrolium, cosmic rose. Coiling passionate rattle of dust. If person is not able to make coherent judgment about past, does not cover it with experience and memory, or is not sufficiently informative, then this person is not able to put forward productive forecast or predictive judgment about future of those events that arise from causal bases of unknown past information about it and arising from such present how logically having causal relationship with logic of past events. Neglect of this principle in favor of whim is naturally erroneous or even defective. Goddess and poet. How could surprise? To impossibility of appeasing. What ardor of heart be love to wander in exile? I not have possibility seeing. Please open stage curtain, where actors have not yet penetrated in role. Like half-bent embryo in womb, he hears only echoes of audience. Their gossip and stories resonate through walls, where paintings frozen in them. Time and spectacle arose, pouring hot panicky blood. Your feelings, your liberties, and everything instantly subsided. There is nothing more, only applause flashed accompanying screams of newly appeared element. Peeps out of darkness pair eyes to sparkle and hoarse exclamation shudders to tree crowns. I am insatiable predatory muzzle, I want to say no little sense. What is answer? What heresy? How to rouse this essence, how to hurt its arbitrariness? And how you rushed here in coming moment, found yourself slipping through lobbies of nothingness, and do not consider it mercy, but dialogue did not arise in vain of open spaces, because who, where and when, what are pretexts, it is not known, this pertinent speech in same instantly penetrated into obscurity. Brightest eyes were covered, but shape that once appeared as cloud was imbued with light in front of me and said, there is only you and me, but there is no prejudice, everything appears shining, moving away from center exactly in all trajectories, only because drowning in it, everything changes and everything is new, gestures of creativity are ablaze. Wow, bold rumor, it must have its origins from forerunner a being, at very thresholds of his lair. But who will tell you, if not this edge, striking against which and it is given to only something one survive, maybe neither to that, to other, what is wildest dream? Rumor erupted into again with riotous flow, interrupting harmony of thoughts. Infinity has not yet been overcome. Everything is due to that. Only problem in that it is not our will. We are derivative statement of probable equivalent to infinity, but I would swap places of roles. This dynamics appears to be our in universal arbitrariness, abounding in conscious and unpredictable complicity. Possibility of meaningfulness is comprehended by probability itself. It is embodied by current objectification in inert stream, but recognized in itself as kind of lingering complexity. Show up, asks the invisible. I do not understand you. This voice is unknown to me. There was answer with meaning unsteady from nowhere. Can something be born that knows its birth? Is it possible to understand what is not presented by understanding? Only consistent regularity gives space for comprehension, but becoming is never predetermined. And this is worth it. Plexuses and thorns blocking full moon face with shadows of branches in front of our eyes. How to kidnap you, divinity, if gusts of hot fervor suffered irresistible hardships from bureaucratic interest and chains of abstractions that level of bestial neurology. Not theft, not murder, prison boredom outside prison. Better to admire from afar. I hate people when they are in close proximity, but not everyone, only those who confuse fences with mental boundaries. Uttered of unknown reach or essence. Kingdom is deprived of admiration. This is death, this is decomposition. And I'm unhumanity and we shouldn't see each other at all. Let my plays riddles wither in wilderness of centuries. And let this moment drown in you, and everyone who imagines at least something more comprehension will recognize same hour too. Judging by format you cultivate, I probably look like something to which you internally intuitively strive. Possible that I correspond to this in reality. But favorable for images to remain virtuality, and beingness is already permeated by us, which is worth much more. And let this moment arise in centuries backward with ringing of bell tower to resonating caresses. There are no images that I would rather cultivate. Pictures and rhymes speak to me through centuries, and I am viewed with dialogue to disturb you. I understand before I can say. This is obstacle between words and mentality. Do you like sea? And do you love at all? Why is everything painful, not entwined passions of sea foam? Unseen, unthinkable, unshakable life from static. Even stars destroy each other, even light in darkness is bent. It begs from nothingness for life with gold torn up splashes. Its mellowness is turned reversed, it accelerates, but fades away. Compassion has no place in love, it exhausted when oceans lose their shores. So shining stars are given themselves to immensity. I still dream of becoming painter, but I don't find time, I love to draw this life. I think it's worth doing it from nature. Appear, goddess, appear. Inspire strokes of living flesh, odorous, juicy. In order to find match conformity her in tones of colors. What to do with love? Asks flying naivety beside soul. One gets following answer. Everything passes by itself, passes with life together. I not touched you and you don't touch me. This is not surety, it is farce, and it is delightful to me. Coloring to evening with flowery conversations, which also happens in our world. Not those acreage squares of prancing today. What kind of twisting lines, violation laws of even thoughts. Aesthetics of body nature, like fits, sweaty palms crooked. Awfully. Horror has more impressive attributes. I think this is from same cruelty of plot and scene, love and mutilation. So memories are sometimes dearer than flesh. I expect in ladies' lot of disappointment, much more than their commitment to love. They were not loving enough and they all left me, like jacket leaves dust shaken by merciless clap of palm. And from now on my lot is, goddess, and all my life is for her, all my essence is search for her. Your charms, but yours only, they sparkle and foaming. Like foam of waves rubbing away about coastline. But what is expression of mercy to my nature, for which you look so impatiently? Only your lips are scarlet, I have intention killing myself for them. I don't like death. This is immortality. Death is abstract in perception of receptor due to pain. Filling of her shape is calculated by losses and soul cries. Deceiving form of behavior, but allows some to survive. What province is emanating below you? Hell. I still can't get there. This will probably not happen. Why? Seems to me is nothing to catch. I can't survive without southern heat, did not test myself in this role. And I love him so profusely, my cold and beloved. I do not like when absent persons participate in conversations. Let your whims stretch in strings and let hellish Satan abode disappear to their sound. Whims, give me eclairs at 1 o'clock in morning, or else I will lower skin from you and give it to my curly poodles. You insist, like rum is saturate to wood in barrel. Rather, I just little more illuminated my point of view. I love eclairs. Your point of view push in my soul. Heart began to bloom, already popping out of his pants with pulse. I love many phenomenon things. Universe does not know mercy, does not know stinginess. We all loving, until one day we cease. What else awaits me? Rare combination. Juvenile joys. Nobly of irony do alternating beauty and aestheticism. Bounties of luxurious life, there must be ascension and din. Like generous creation, however, was not so spoiled by culture. I certainly not one who spoils about letters or traditions, no biggest interesting in disciplinary ethics, I be captured to plenty of thought. To me everything is not enough, constant comprehension of more, growth of life into immensity. Completely. Indefatigable thirst to eating infinity. So we will write during anamnesis. Or leave it for obituary. For biographer. When I'm sad, I'm still anyway glad that I'm alive. Regret for lost to lack of, but overtaken, is ambivalence, schizoid symptom. Agoraphobia and derealization. Derealization and agoraphobia, metabolism falls short. Where from? Explain. Drugs. Endogenous. Experiences. Leftovers delight, seasonal life cycle reformer. You decorated my evening. I am grateful to you. I have desire to be your devoid debtor, but in my opinion this is slavery in carelessness. I am for freedom of growth to distance height. I am for dependence of sensual impulses, let bridle be pulled tight on them, and chase damn dozen horses, let's carry beyond edges. An instantly joyfulness fun let be invisibly loitering around, unbeingness overcoming and darkness satiating with patterns of passion, embellishment of fetters. I've got bomb in my chest, I'm an explosives engineer. Flame rushes through catacombs of arteries and reason. Rhizomes descend to me, branches blossom. My juice feeds them, going up to crowns. I go out for walk, be thought to dissolve in endlessness. Shine. How dare I? I could not. But weaved, streaked. One more drop of endocrine essence. Oh yeah, now it's clear. Says passer-by voice on local shores. He is languid and heavy. Gray-haired rock sagging says. It is not understood, but clearly. I say in power of discharge. Originality of nothingness, forgive me. After all, how can you share relationship with person of other half genus, as if friendly or unfriendly? This is paradoxical absurdity. In my opinion, either feelings of love, or they do not exist. Psychologists like break down essence of things down to atoms, but without touching on intelligible foundations, and it turns out that there is nothing you can really see there. Blood flows passing by through veins. Friendship with males, but regarding woman, is either mine or not mine. That's all. Woman will be with you if you will be her friend. Invisible boulder leans away from essence meaning. Into end it turns out that friendship is something indefinite, amorphous and constantly capricious, hopeless and hypocrisy desperate squeezing through fearfulness. I never friendship with woman, only feelings. Fact is that ardent feeling cannot follow in one vector, so can stars, but it happens that as result merger of two luminaries happens one and unique born, more weighty and with defining flares. Such blazes is honest without representing split never again, full self-sufficiency, this is universal physics, so once sea merged into pit, and cosmos will once be filled with dull dense blocks, that huddled into masses, they will begin to emit much heavier light, more tension, then giants of new measures will wake up. And it happens that no, bedlam, cooling apodoabolic freeze, lack of centrifugality in kinetic stasis, shortage vortex dynamics. I want to see trees blazing with autumn fire, so that waves of their foliage rustling make my steadfastness smoothed out. No for love to unbreakable. This is my death, but not completely. Each formation dissolves in dynamics of measures, thought after thought is exhausted, action to action changes flesh containing it and existing that appears to flesh as frame of picture. It sounds like this is your life, but not completely. Frame of picture is much wider than current sensitivity of our mental focus, and therefore it is worth expanding that. This tone resonates through grinding and groaning of stone. I am dying entangled in absence of oncoming feelings, dead, but who would give resurrection? I would have hoped and melted into this, but did not meet selfless heat of love on my way. And you imagine that she is near. Stone crackle creaks. Not born. Who are you? You are absent. I am drunken, adventurous, disastrous, leaping from sea course, and you are casually voice hallucinates. Drunken me, my mental mirror flexibly generates resonance with your voice and thought intact. Do not deceive yourself, do not deceive me, and everything will be as it was, as it won't be henceforth, never, and to this day. Near death condition in length of life. Good night, sleep, otherwise I will awaken you, forgotten fossil that has fallen over the edge of biolayer susceptibility. I'm fine as it is. Glad not to see your silence depraved, look for being or wander in immensity of lost cognitive shores beside abyss. I don't want to, and I think that it is don't really need at rest, I like to wallow in water and looking out. You confuse priorities not for your reason, because you operate only to happen without your participation. Someone indulges himself with moisture for centuries without moving, soaks on shore of eternity. This is long fate, and in it any happen to seen. Do you see this sacred? Holy One, I am not, but nothing is required. And is it here? And weather shattered of sand deposits, like fog sifted by bullets, which held over golden glitter of deadly sparks when wind tormented by their stings. But not quite. Sacred does not allow condescension to murder, so forgive me, I will lie down little longer, will go into oblivion. And it's not news, and I would have died in your fragments, as final shyness going headlong off cliff slipping awkwardly, is filled with rebellions in anticipation of murderous pain, last supreme punishment not overcome by its own given. You don't have to die, you don't have to, it's so wonderful to live in expectation of death. Well, dying poet, no one can measure he and cannot. Get rid of me until it's not too late. I am spoiled fornication from depths of sea, I am vagrant crumpling trails of local harbor. Forgive me, I betrayed you in falling out of attention to being, and as if I'm looking for fiction, but I can't find anything among that surged in rampage delirium. Seek, ask, beg, fall over edge if you demand. Let's go, cheer up molecules. Icy water does it better. With each outgoing wave I strive to fall asleep, but then I twitch from water freshness with biting fear of unexpected. Each foray repeats previous one and never finds complete match. So where is and who is here? Beer has laid down new trajectory driven by source of eternity itself. And from heaven falls hail sighs like peas, unrestrained flow of ice. And let stingy knots of this despair break through to nothing, so that touching you with unawakened roar of praising abuse, thread another pattern in loop. And we drink this blood of torn canvases, like predatory entity tears its teeth flesh to shreds. Excuse me talkative to dumbness in fossil of obstinate meanings, because it is so lonely here. For what to excuse you? For drunkenness, for swearing, for tricks. Good, but for last time, remember, deign to delve into this veil. And you go on, mute emptiness of immobility, which absence of me. I died forever, everything, consumption for individual climaxes. You have fun, and I am death, languid poison, indestructible horror, mammoth falls silent in abyss. Horror is gracious in moments of rushing passing, and even splendid. This is livingness. I will see your luxury in all glory, if I melt stone flesh, let red turbidity flow of lava hopelessly and with soaring smoky resins dispel constraint of soul. Red is color of life and riot, and beauty is nonsense, reality explicitness shadowed by feelings. Complete nonsense, so rely on sophistication and sensitivity, I will check it before centuries pass. Splendor of your thought let it be, and sure of that, it is I will not erase you from my memory. Happen. Enjoyable dreams, riotous poet. Speaks emptiness, divinity, love and murderous pain. But isn't pretending. I'm overwhelmed by alcohol and shoddy feeling. Uncontrollable cry torn. Next time. Go to sleep. Stone is heard crunching and creaking. Wind, scratch my unbridled head. I will calm down at later time at last, when forever. Highest point of being is always replete with here, directly, nearby. And you, emptiness dumb to death, bear your charm until I recognize you in your all-encompassing hypostasis. All of humanity was refined, all life twist in bloody streams, torn flesh tossed about, so that you now comprehend and in attendance heed reckless cry. What delight do you understand at this moment? You are taking advantage of moment and me. I will give you full-fledged satisfaction. You will howl have vain exile, like she-wolf in moonlight licking its faded fur with gold of midnight settling on it under blowing ardor of vapors exhaled after fog, stretching from displacement of air masses. Listen to me, I'm too young for you, go for good into languishing endless silence. Yes, you're right, I have always been aware of something until time that I was be not passer by rushing universal vortex. What fuck? Puddle of heavenly tears, salty sea straight from space to space. I miss wavy caress of storm in everyday life, but it seems I can get along. I want to sleep. How long can you say goodbye? Unbreakable eternity. Calm darkness, night, indefatigable immobility posture, mental emptiness of wind, she Satan pretending to be rock, love, but not now and not here, as if right through in marriage bonds dragged charm, for which you cannot properly catch silhouette of life. Perfectly. I fall silent in front of unlimited infinity. You better cure me irrevocably. Surely, you're already my patient. And I will die, unfit for more. No, I'll calm down now, so I'm fit. Well, good, I condescending attitude to disappear your grace into this night, but you will forget in morning that eternity has touched roll of everyday life, as if wrapped in ailment you will dare to wander for your life and find something unsurpassed. Sharpness of stone fracture in temperament is similar ecstasy. Was being. Maybe I'll be drunk. All life rushes about, like fan rushes between weight of memories and ease of oblivion. Darkness, sleep, colorful creatures shimmer with light and heal me, they are me, I am their offspring, I am their game brainchild, their divine gift, lust among universal voids. Good morning. Voice unknown to me is heard in sunlight. Who is this? Deign to appear. Do not pay attention, I am not here, was not and will not be. I expect live communication. Please make visualize your experiences not through voice in my head, they're undetected and immortal, because poet will never forget anything. I propose to correct this with lively circumstantiality to irreparably. It is impossible, although realizable. Nothing is impossible within framework of universal laws. But there is no desire, which is put into basis of being, omnipresent and all round. Crave, go and eat then how long you crave. I'll go and devour completely. And tide covered boulder, it gurgled little more, stone knock was heard with priggery resonance, but rustle of waves that washing shore in morning, washed away salt dried on handbreadth, flickering glitter of stars from eyes through past dream and last night. Damsel, who person unknown to me, walking along sun's reflections, sings, cantillate unheard of melodies, curls them with her voice. And all that was dream to revelations of Oneros dissipated, and I gravitated with slope from their precipice into abyss of morning epic, wake up, plunge into reality with ease of falling breakdown, like ripe fruit. What beautiful dress. Thank. Superfluous, I would say. What do you mean? Why do you need playful intention in form of arbitrary designation? Is this excuse to curl continuation? I am with best of intentions. Do not think, not forgive, if you find in that offensiveness. Are you busy in free time? No free time. I mean love. Marry me. Certainly. I need practice of infinity, from myself unfolding it at this moment outward while feeding on it. Secret information should not be disseminated along with pettiness of actions and judgments. It will not spread, it will drown in my arms, and I will carry in my arms into cloudlessness of given universal shift to meet luminaries, including one that warms veils of flesh close by. How do I know if sustainability guarantees are needed? Take them and give all your being to the situational specifics, with all your essence, with all your body. Come on, world cannot wait, or do you not live by this world, by this dedication? Life that has filled local conditions is unthinkable, although it is totally natural of law. Its demands are relentless, and not pity to efforts for them, or maybe not enough. Boulder, feel this energy, wash yourself with it. Give mental coordinates to Elon of Poet. I'm inseparably busy. It's impossible. Who or what occupies you? By deed, you cannot even imagine what deeds are puzzled by conquest of the universe. Where? Which one? I do not see. I will help you, so that it is faster. You need to finish with this crazy case, at least for short while. Come on, honey, come on. I'm doing quite well myself, but to finish overpowering means to break away from opportunity to be. Good, I'll just watch and talk, do everything yourself. Until how much time are you busy with affairs? When is entract? Why do you need to be excommunicated from one that has no interruption and no boundaries? I want to bail out you, we will step in wind and blow. How has comprehended? I don't think you can do that. No need to think. Poet is metaphorical and implies feelings. Need to live, live entirely. Do understand. Let me think. Who hasn't done well here? Have you ever heard voice of poet? Drunk of poet? Do you like to walk down street? And flowers? Speak in verse. I am ready to dedicate myself to you. And I'm not drunk. But if you don't say a word, then I will. No heard exclamations of rolls up. All. I went to plunge into drunkenness. And in grief, and in sea of love. Is distributed cry somewhere. Wait, wait, everything will be done now. No, it's not my destiny to be steadfastness of waiting. I will be true to my soul, my wandering. And for your anxiety forgive me. Yet one verse of same morning, snippet of same unawakened nature, same incident. Air is filled to light. Sunny day dispelled dream. Redundant lush place. Accumulation of life tones and most wonderful forms. And he got up from coastal field half asleep, and wandered into distance poet. But suddenly from nowhere, rumor spilled into odic apparatus. Do you believe in eventualities? That voice spoke, which there is nothing more beautiful, and as if it were not there, but here it is, bewitches, and I am triumphantly defeated in front of it, as if by predestined hypnosis. It depends on what angle to understand case. Any result of action and action essence can be considering as case. And chance is often understood as unknown actions that led to some unexpected result, which played or still plays certain role in our life. Unknown actions to extent of their unrecognition in front of what happened. Accident gives reason to recognize. Doesn't incident become accident only because of information lack, which under some circumstances we cannot simply possess physically? Although is it all important? Anything happens. I completely agree with you. Coincidence is laconic formulation of those cases that are wittingly known to us. I rise in impulses and drown in them, drown in surplus unsteady, and I have edge to cling in fleeting moment. It burns out mercilessly at our eyes, leaving burns, oncoming streams of traces. Tender, scarlet cheeks of your, what is it like to see? Alluring freshness fruitful is more beautiful than fire in furnace. Let me taste little anxiety. My heart entwined with wounds requires opium of love. Let him step over fatal edges, bestow unknown fate. Sea is so agitated, whispers about walks of moon. She wanders beside, currents of their strings are entwined each other akin. And I can be cruel, but solely to unrestrained. My flesh, my hands are humble, but no one can cope with zeal of soul. No one can cope. Impressive and terrible, you have stolen my attention, mercilessly and brazenly. I turn around in anticipation, strive to see source of this rumor touching its thrill to my all body, piercing glossy moment. Thank you, oh, dear, I give you blessings, unthinkable powers of spell pierce heart. Let them be forgotten. Let fragile marble, granite immovability give shape to centuries. Carnal essence does not know to sacred impulses, does not know prepositions to rise beyond limits set aside by body. Like Babylon scraping heavens, collapsed according to sketches of human nature, like life flow along bed of road with mud be mixed. Showers merge with bursting thunderstorms, because such soar in azure of day with lush clouds, covering by shadows worlds and folks, heat of sun imbibe in yourself. You speak as if your life quite no has static. Gradually to grace of lines manifests image, face of goddess with whom spend spoke, she visited me, overflowing to instant from grace, admiration, and I bow in front of her, in spell of her love I give her life. Long live, not life, but love. You are unreal, I do not believe in you, you do not exist, O goddess. Pretending to be atheist, I will proudly rave, allegedly, these are not beauty and not at all unearthly, at present and henceforth. Looking only intently at you, as if on full moon walking along moonlit road on sea in whisper of flickering caresses, because there is nothing else, nothing but glow of untouched glare. And howlta, and howls, stirring up frozen air in valleys, mercilessly drive out silence. Not longing, not hunger, it is liberty wandering in desert of most delicate skin color, in oases of wondrous eyes be drowning and gasping for breath in blissful torment of love. Love to summer. Her voice pours glass of beingness. More than anything on light, and I love you more than summer. And nature. I like everything here, except people, they very often come for me not to my liking. Such is axiom of problematics. I like particular persons with whom it is tolerable to be in immediately audially contact. Why not? What is wrong with them, my gracious? Frequencies of their thoughts fall out of reasonable range amplitudes. Here are your divine vibrations of atoms combined on original occasion completely fell into my soul. You are everywhere and anywhere. With your voice particles sing, hitting each other. They rotate intact with rhythm of my molecules, thirst to nuclear fusion, merge into one more sun. Yes. They sing, their exclamations drown in dance, fiery whirlwinds circle and velvet of skin burns. In course of communication with you noticed not many catchy details, but large orbital measure, universal. So I initially noticed that you position of yourself in moderate dosages without giving out comprehensiveness. Your great mystery, this is attractively, given comeliness and tenderness of your appearance, that emerge in front of me. You looking charming to me, enchanting unthinkable allure, because you are goddess. Apart from pandemics and mass extinctions, what are your interests? What devote leisure? I am laceration by paranoid seizure. My psyche is tearing and throwing thoughts, but they newly grow together, about you, in front of you. Oh, so merciful of you, I am flattered by tortuousness of touching thought, which is predetermined in image rollover form of livingness. My beingness grows up with dreams of local incarnations. I stigmatize people's destinies, direct them and let them perish if they are unable to cope with accompanying universal whiffs, which were touched by divine fate, but overcoming human in themselves, they ascend into heaven abode. I love persons who destroy themselves consciously, but create full beautiful worlds, by keen, constantly thirsty and passionate, and sane. Vicious inspire and endow with wide range of emotions. With such I want to be destroyed together, but nothing does can't do. I am penetrated to bone marrow by your revelation, like radiation, sincerely, it creates feeling of contact to excessively, invisible, unthinkable. Probably this is called spiritual kinship, all oozing cells and all fluctuation of corpuscles, I don't know what it is, but feeling of whole universes intertwined, as if another being is born, an old being as if never existed. Again my tongue is braiding and I'm not drunk, but impossible call me sober either. You tease me, you mock me, dosages of you are too small. I long for satiation of your essence from my inspiration hunger and together with you fuss. I beg your pardon, but I live in universal blocks, and I miss you in breathing gorges that were stretching of validity. I see in you ardent all-encompassingness. I have never met divine qualities, they appeared in this way. Write to me in sky, write to me in rivers, I will wait, they are waiting so committed to events, epical sprouts, all itself surrendered totally and entirely, for her and her, beloving and cognate, one that waits, one that will not forget unbridled howl, perspicacious sense. I am yours, with name, without name, I am yours, and myself now have itself. I am yours with all ardent raging and lusting to feeling, with all scintillant instant, all flesh, all soul. Voice resounded to echo, accompanying sliding carriages along step. It is not people who ride in them, it is howl of soul, laden to top, flies, slip to escapes in strings of ringing serenade. On summer emerald night, under whisper of sea waves, sings about love, and pulls that minute, stretches tone of song on eternal partitura, but moment leaves again and leads to itself, invisible kisses drowning here anew, take it away, it is yours and bestowed to you. Intertwined in arms of sprouted, goddess and poet, there is nothing to notify, bloom flowers of climbing branches. Oh, comely, cutest, I will devote as much poetry to you as will be necessary, and even if at wrong time to given me die, it as will exude their gist in subtle consonances, let gold pour in autumn, let autumn blaze with chilling summer heat in light coolness of winnow sea wind, like suppressed scream in aftertaste whiny, unwillingness to pain of dulled by bliss, I am bewitched by you and to you this given entirely. Gust of passion through bridled volition toward you I make unleash. It doesn't matter if there will and whether there is final. No place for superstition and expectation, only continuous. Derivative, so this knot has twirled, and it in perpetuity no unravels. To scrutinize its essence undertake. It was, then it will be, and in this life wonderful gesture as we arisen. You are totally close to me. Certain serenity with mischievously is overflowing. I want to hear in snuggled point blank by ear. Seeing your beauty and nothing more. It seems to me that I spoil case with excess of passion. Dissuade me or throw me to heck by rewarding with separation. Are you spoiling? Eliminate such measure from your thoughts, I beg you, what nonsense. Beauty's unearthly to shine and her image was naked by wind howl playing with sand, bringing coolness drops of edge torn from depth abyss waves, and stretching out my hand to her. I drown in it, I don't grope anything, don't see, don't understand, which of us has disappeared, whom there is none of us, our touches, impulses of contiguity, they are in different worlds, but they are inalienable. Well, what kind of joy, what kind of grace? I intend with all my flesh, zeal of soul, I need this like air, daylight and darkness of nights. I will talk to you even when you are not there, because I feel inseparability of presence everywhere. I am congregate to one end, to live for you irrevocably and without retribution. Beside you everything is within my power, my goddess, my love, my reward. Wheel twist hot whirl upward. Let it carries away you to blue of heaven. And in shimmer of night stones. At bottom of universal streams. Yes, come across diamonds of our days. Them will preserve, in memory laid forever. Swallows play with song, twine in waves to washing by gold of sun. From afar flew thoughts about them, mischievous sea flies, whistle, chirp about their birdie, probably about nests, about flights, about thaw that was once and was repeatedly forgotten, because heat melts images, tireless wind and some kind fantasy of poet, and some kind purpose of behests. Oh, goddess, you are everywhere and you are not, I am with you forever. I couldn't see whether you. I couldn't I forget you. Primordially timid grace, invisible thread of events. Oh, how perfectly nice you are, sweet. Oh, how did you, in this lily's grace of wondrous glow with enchanting ripeness, could to come out into mercilessly light, itself of light to astonished. My eyes are like chains, like wattle fences stiffness, tied. I don't dare barely log off your shores, I dare not sprouting from soil, I am waiting for signal, news, letters woven by mercy of delicate hand. Nothing matters to me, I am not important to myself, I am here and given to unknown breezes. Maybe I won't be yours, maybe you are mine, but in world after all everything is ours, where we appeared to be this world deign. My gaze floats longwise murmuring shore, picks out wondrous color in it, like invisible threshold. Crossing which is in every first outgoing verse. Communicate, people, communicate in poetry. This is utmost euphemism. Biggest secrets remain unheard of. I drowned in love, my chipped is measured out, this luxurious guarantee wanderingly eludes into nothingness, forgetting everything, as if there is nothing, this world unenlightened seems to rolling on me. Why? Or maybe will be allocate of truth. And you did not hear main thing, this song, which still nowhere to heard. Music, welcome, arise, I yelling urge to this being. Will sobbing stubborn symphony with sound of resonating membranes. You may be guest to case. Doubtless you are there as, you are immense. Heavenly distance of exile strove and saw cryings in front of gallows. Lives fell until fate was imbued with how permeated by circumstances. You are here in links crumbling of fetter sounding. You hear. Probably you heard. And let boundless carry away with itself at every moment fatal. How it is and you did arose of this. Feel freedom, omnipresent explicitness. And persistent sleep, an unknown thought, again dissect burden of life through meaning, posthumously and lifelong, and boring, and you will not bored, groan of unheard of prayer and hope. Where I am, where you are, to nobody this unknown, my God doesn't give out secrets, my goddess not belong to anyone, they seem to be non-existent, all shrines are carefully hidden from careless reproaches and indifferent nonsense, and in this sequence of events as if I wasn't yet, so ferry dock waits for no one, but one day ship comes. Is it not futility? No, unmatched and unthinkable. People looking around whole crowd, rolled out their eyes, and raising their hands under irresistible height, among other things, conducted each with his own chorus, each with his own symphony. What area, what bazaar? Whence so many wonderful splashes from spank of handbreadths? But what is it like for you illustrating everyday life and rebelliousness to endow this noise and din with contentment? I'm interesting your thoughts. Other as cannot will be touching. Let winds torn against about my face. I'll get there to wherever nowhere. In arms of love, To her I dedicate myself. And to her I give all essence of moment. My element, my weakness, my power. Such by this naked life, her stream by passion seethes. And jealous harbors, to subtleties of sunrise as connoisseurs. Ringing drivel with drunken abuse as sounding. Nothing inappropriate in already emerged. Shamelessly slipping away when dissolves thoughts. And spreads by barking or arbitrary from dogs. Travelers accompanying of my alarm, travelers of my prayers, I am ready accompany there to embouchure of Styx, to bottom of fathomless depth. May my feet will not fail me, may your wings will lift me to places where inviolable mountains stretch upward in size and pierce heavens. From them blood powder falls dried up on tips of peaks, not yet by anyone for ignite, not coming out as cloud, of not flared up soul, and I maddened do creeping little by little, to it which hidden, safe-keeping fire in myself. Angels with crows circling descended in gold of heaven streaming, pouring out pure light, accelerating through cloudy loops, chanted to generating verse after verse, chorus after chorus. And sun's light, and shadow of nights, and vapor of desert mirages, flicker in anticipation of covenant, summer melts of hot sweat, this body thinks, so confidently recognizing itself in everything, and smears border lines by someone once sung, as if nobody is here, as if it never happened, but immeasurable loneliness always finds facets of other side, and from that time it becomes noticeable, that's I am, that's everyone, that's everything. Neither omens, just all manner of guises hustles by sprout of universe, where from its stream of love pours out its song. Sultry heat, it has by me been defeated and it defeating to me, but I know how to saddle her. Gray gloom with ceruleaness and wrinkled sea, flickering backsides and faces, float past, fly. Branches of wild olive clambering in eyes. So where are you, where, moon diva, light of your gold may drown in me again, drown again maybe. But evening goes away, all life goes away, and you go away. Midges in cold has wines, encroachment on bloodshed by mosquitoes. Deserved lessons to undeserved in front of geeks from life, gifts of dowry flesh and thought. Someone shouted from crowd. Life, by definition, is need, requirement that has long desire for licentiousness and has become it crashes from venting of own insatiability. Movement, upward movement and neither hopelessness. Who are you, wonderful friend, whose voice erupted from crowd? Terrible people who do not know justice. It should be they don't know love. Must be they not know reciprocity. Unthinkable gifting, unthinkable. Most complex combination in form of life. Not about that weather. Exactly, but with subtlety the thread is wound around my neck. Lowest of human habits, it is these are nowhere lower, pretending to be defeated, but retaining overestimated exactingness, so as to for no reason bend facial spiracles, to get confused underfoot permanently, flowing out mouth by foam, impudence abomination or simply bastardity, fear confusedly mixed with inspiration, sparkles flaws, but not pearls, railing of rappers who regurgitated their appointment in form of collective mess under guise of quantitative factor, they say as though are many of us. And quality does not oblige anything, but there is problem, in herd inertia quantity somehow or other finds determinative vector, neither today nor tomorrow, but it certainly finds, otherwise to social nature by does not know. This is not poetry, but some weighty mass. After all, your poet still one of those prophetic in your essence, impenetrable, quicksandity, like congregation of atoms. Poets by prohibited to provoked, they are not that to contrary don't delve into essence or do not understand such gestures, they at one fine moment respond threefold to damage inferiority, but when they deign to consider. And crowd lost faith in themselves. Well, What kind of sleepy day overtook me and starves too? Well, what kind of fresh leaves shadow plays languidly in front of eyes and covers paths? Acceptably notice different stylistics of life in overall properties outlines to its manifestations relatively person. It is worth developing this topic according to existing crafts of society, kingdom and everyday order. You are right, because you are one with whom there is nothing to argue about, your thoughts sing and rise, but no holes are dug under fences of those who preferred pettiness to grandeur. My love is in my chest, but this is not cage, it breaks through nerve plexuses of soul, into being to exuding by amazement and by breeze. Be issue, my song, ascend to my muse, to her charm, her unrestrainedness, her whims. Only to her alone I grant this look, this life, everything that is. Permeated by her, my bliss, my suffering, my thoughts. Let her from enjoyment squeal, let passionate tearing by yell to whistling. And I will be enchanted by her for life and enamored with her, and no one will know, as though that everything is meaningless. No hear, no see, as if quietness is at stake. But one who grasping taste from discover, headed peak entwined with divine vines, peak of viewless fate heights. And poet raved tirelessly, and his voice disappearing farther away in listening hearing, and night to strip, rolled out gritting of crickets, as if that star's gloss sounds. Who is there? Nobody again. Where did similar scene come from? Who is its author? Who found rhymes of pieces? He is absent. But who is heard here? Oblivion, death, poisonous of life, fate, or passions not that plunged into abyss and emerged with it simultaneously in circulation with each side turned. Behold to you, here it is, I remembered. I am one who spilled wine on face, making besotted by luxurious bustle and heard in response as such stage verse. Dopey from sadness to flies away through by yesterday, but what for? He pronounced from eternal distance by involuntary mileage, atonementing by bright banner into light of those who gone from summer epic. Spirit of capitalism wanders and asks everyone, where are you all going? Likewise looking beyond horizons at tirelessly will, looking for your modest prey without scooping up skies, not in clouds of coast, about which you involuntarily dream swiftly, inconsolably. Mode of life in modernity is not so much depressing as it is killing originative creative impulses. This is shredding of mentality, according to which person does not see, does not show, does not possess harvest of his deeds. He, she, like each of them, is just closing detail of organic world twirl, local purpose in determining them dimensions, which in general terms acts as all-encompassing futility, since general mechanism is arranged in assimilation to details. But funniest thing about this is dissociation, according to which person not only doesn't participate in formation of what he is element from, person is psychically isolated from causal and effect relationships of becoming most things that fill his life, but herewith being their inalienability and even dependent on these things, from technology to structure of society at all function levels. This is murder of civilization, murder of creation and achievements, exclusion of discoveries and veritable accomplishment. I think that is energy saving, would be worth make fluorescent screen, perhaps electronic ink, like looking at paper book while watching video, or emitting photons from photonic circuits, which are of calculative significance, but directly supplying light rays to photopixels, generating light without batteries. Greenhouse effect has overtaken my soul and make asphyxiate, planetary universal vaporarium, soars and chills by showered with coolness of condensed moisture. But when it is hot, streams of hot steam are not able immediately merge to rain, they rubbing each other in embrace and begin to sparkle, only after they cool down as working out their inductance in form of lightning impulsiveness. Layers of atmospheric heights with appropriate density and thermal properties determine weather and rainy seasons. How do you like celestial power plant? Clouds themselves are doing their task, but who could wrapping them in wires and connecting them to mains? Good morning. Let's prepare ourselves. There is lot of electricity, even underground, even overheads and roofs. Radio beam flying of cuts through planet, inconceivable weapon, conversion of lightning to X-ray. Hello, goodbye, message from satellite for comet, that's outflowing melted to unbingness. It is possible to support flutter palpitation in verse couplet with balloons, so exquisite stone that overcame ashes and burning out, highlighted, sowed its greetings all, shown in night with dictum on rolled out tablecloth, gone and arrived at appointment by willful competition. How long is excruciation of my torments and enemies? Isn't it in vain on cloud that came out of tin drove a long way to road? Permeating, get through, and drank without residue. What kind are exile of Panama, where seekers of trails start up in pursuit of, prowl looking for due places, due palaces, ferret out to found life splendor, but didn't calm down with panoramic face of prices. Poet. Sick with life, mortally. This loneliness stretching out too far. What is gained, what is lost, I don't know and to know don't want. I have nothing except flesh, whose laws are beyond paraphernalia belongings and accessories. Let be everything, it will be so when nothing happens, for everything is. Scraps of unburned letters by farewell fate done smelled. Remains of embodied thought, took cognitive form by dust. Waiting, is feature of absence hanging over abyss. Discrepancy between impressions and vanity to difference draws. I'm not on sidelines. In center of universe. But of another world. Where demons and muses fly, bloom by poetry sketches. In dance of life and death among burning love. Another collision of two inseparable entities. Poured out by murals of uneven drawings, arts of fatal. Contours of disease manifested by feelings. Burning to ashes, corroding souls to holes. All-consuming case of universal clot. Scalding hands, of eyes flames. Met you for first time, O goddess. Shines glares of face in night. Your image from infinity woven. Beating out rhythm of splashing fate in my chest. Tearing with blazing pressure, but about main is silent. Carries on slopes of otherworldly rapids. In dancing leaves to limits of worldly facets. Beingness here got underway. Shifted from place creation granite. Remains only spicy aftertaste of kiss. Some exaltedly call such feeling supreme. But quietly, for those sailing by, inaudibly whisper mouths. Dashing gestures of unseen creatures will by bliss cut through their own ashes. Dispersing of measures, first such are presented. Sailing across sea to mountains behind guiding star, slightly agile, but not stubborn, similarly as fog by persecuted to wind across heavens, like outcast, which in its own wanderings following to newly unknown and breaking away from all habitual fundamental basics. She leads me by hand, eyesight dissolve in dance. Consciousness is diffused in languor of blissful prostration. Merging by invisible moment mutually slips away. There is a movable forest, serenely noiseless. There is no rustle, no spark. Barely greenery of lush depths swallow and drown privily. Goodbye Atlantis, conquered by your vastness. Playful convolutions of rivers caressed my eyes. I've never seen so many birches. Among them, all life freezes in breath. And next at parting, as if with sweetheart, touch of curls is never forgotten. Worth only to touch love, such whole life is immersed in mercy. Of continuous soul wanderings to tact of train knocking on rails. Or heard nearby splashes of waves, rustle of southern plains. By embrace of tranquility home meets me, ridges are hilly, coastline indented by sea. Well, hello. Abyss of dangerous precipice, my song is heard about that. Your nature and in splendor of distant luminaries over you. Where there are neither people nor their thoughts, insurgency tail off in night. Scent of blossoming flowers flows into shoreless season. Cannot be much from heartily, there is spiritual meager or smidgen smallness. Life burns out with sparkling of brushwood, firewood, without requital exudes ownerless warmth. Times are beautiful, only someone always spoils everything, acute lack of propitiousness. But light and strings of poetry go back to star peaks. Like lifelong wanderers come back once to basics at least. So are bursting upward all songs, prayers and bright thoughts. Nothing happens late if life happened. Let crumble precious stones, let spill wine. Whatever how you twist by circumstances, Creator is created. And it's not about postulates or dogmas, it's about something that no has refutation. Creator being creator is creature. His essence of beingness is possible only when it dwells, but it dwells somewhere and in something, has source, and thus it is infinite. Everything has source, and each source comes from another source. Try to unravel your nature and you will find this, and creator, and source. It is more likely physics, or metamorals of permanent dynamics, making of objective knowledge from thought, from logos, inherent in life and any essence by materialism. Proceeding from this, it is impossible to refute such saying. If there is something, then absolute nothing is impossible, because something cannot come from nothing. And it doesn't matter what are talking about matter or about God, since any presence comes from something, being something, it cannot come from nothing. This is impossibly, since nothing doesn't determines anything. This endless emptiness is not having limitations. Consequently, there is always and everywhere something, if there is at least something, and this makes absolute nothing completely impossible. Always something comes from something, that makes their total absence physically impossible. Matter is always, eternally and infinitely, otherwise it would not existed or it doesn't informally and lawly measure. Following this principle, highest form of life or deity reaches very essence of infinite something, producing itself at progressively, at outstripping all embracing inertiality of matter, which is actually life, but still in simple catch-up and lagging form, more derivative than producing. It turns out that concept of God or God as such is possible only in form of absolute pathetic creativity. Permanent orgasmic constructing of more than it is, outstripping attainment of more, birth and growth, limitless fruitful ecstatic indwelling in that which has not yet existed. He completely surpasses that he is. By a head of events, he creates himself before being can take initiative. Being emanates from him, not he coming from being, but divine is no way similar to human. God cannot have human appearance or be likened to deity. And consequently cosmism and physics are quite divine, for they fully reflect actuality, creative material. Likewise we in likeness of its aftersounds, which has never been anywhere and never. Of course, people are far from absolute creation of being from something raw and homogeneous, like surrounding cosmos, but we either exodusing from this, either embryos of this. History of civilization breaks through life by inflicting fatal and irreversible injuries on oneself, through pain, tearing apart souls of those who likens it to themselves and those who hold it back with their stupidity or whim. For children, for innocency, cruelty is amusement. In natural conditions, where there are no social suggestions or rudiments of mature culture at conscious age interrupting natural appetite for life, cruelty manifests by default, as in wild environment. But histrionic equanimity is fruitless. Lack of initiative, herbivores tend to instill for naive persons social forms of behavior that distort native nature, making privilege by means of emotions for one and to lower priority of other. even if this does not change cruelty and destructiveness of many life aspects, barely superficial guises, but that from century to century by eradicating in virtue of social synchronicity the flexibility of thinking apparatus from entire humanity, because only fools can limiting themselves to hypocrisy. All manipulations and forms of behavior are formed through received emotions, pain, pleasure, along innate ruts of metabolism, during which forming experience and memories, reflexes and skills, growth of nerve branches, of which most basics are initially conditioned, are inevitable in normal physical environment. Dietary cult. Sounds absurd, wacky. Diet can only be health improving or prophylaxis. What do disadvantaged expect? What do they rain through themselves? Neither sky, nor sea, nor sun blazing fire. What is not here yet? All is ready. Only there is not enough true will, its embodiments, in deeds of all-encompassing, recalcitrant. Needful not supporters, but prophets. Needful not managers, but ruling ones. Not people, but overlords. A their essence owner, of world appearing or seers. Across threshold will step over not many. But gates will swing open. Kingdom is coming, its effulgence on astonished faces. No one can't look back, no one beyond power to turn his gaze from approximation. Everything for it strives. But who will show way? On surface of sea from waves of ranging, by weary reflections slide down of strings contours, of mute nature, but of heard exclamations, of seen hints, evening murals do not know, do not remember, unbeknownst to their own participate in conversation. Swifts together with crows, press down pink sky of dawning with shouts of anxiety in anticipation night darkness. So on nacrous mirrors of sea in evening languor, bright flint reflecting of outgoing day. Flammy bird, feathers of cloudy wings, opened up in frozen image of flight on heaven vastness. Cools down by cloud after cloud in dissolving of warm shades in darkness. Light with evening cold. In height of appearing night is seen sparkling warmth. Cuts through with starry twinkle, far, far away. It's useless to stretch us upward. Will no touching with hand. For sun more than once will to rise as predetermined. Otherwise, where is this world from? Why and what does experience suggest? Chronological cyclicality gives time to think it over. But dumb nature don't gives hope. Will not drop word. But doesn't lie, and her truth can be cruel. So, nothing superfluous has arisen. So it should be. Enlightening dialogues with nature. Unanswered questions. Between living and not dead. Making up one thing. Interrelation is one. But precisely that's heterogeneity. Unparalleled variability is generated by smallest shift. From certain rustle violating rest of eternity. I said that just in case. Thus every case appears life, at crossroads, from which impossible to get off, and not necessary, and don't want to. Dance of pleasing speeches. Silk of curly hair. Velvet of melting touches. Grace is sharpened by suffering and pain. Through sieve of damage and voids of soul holes is sifted. Everything either too simple or it's nowhere harder. It looks like world has long deprived of golden middle. Led accompanying by unmeasured inspiration. Provoke to impertinence of stanzas. Let flow juices of lonely muses. With moisture of crumbling dews. Like from rose petals blowing scent to wind. As if blood from palm, where dunked its thorns. On lips with salty flavor. By fingers roughness on tenderness of scarlet cheek. Dried and absorbed of deprivation fleeting traces. We stole what desired and seen. Delightful jiff. Thud of bursting heartbeat of beyond edges went. Erupted from chest. Meadows neath smoothing out paths appeared in flickering thrill, touching by fallen ribbon to sight, and whispers stringy streams from wind, affectionate greetings from goddess sends. To scraping off heavenly distance, grasses twist upward, feet emotionlessly crush aspiration of fettered life. Freed from burdens of creative thought, they fulfill their essence, await higher fate, complicity of unthinkable, supreme miracle. Their form is unstable, but everywhere. Quantity is found of qualitative difference, mass gives rise to differentiation, but source is much narrower than mouth, it is factually nothing, everything is accompanied by acceleration, even exhausted feeling was once born from splash. Has matters as only vector of productive accretion, creative growth in gist, other is not against to downing in abyss, without trace will be sunken, as if step burning is disperse in wind. Newly I came to crowded land, where attention is not riveting, everywhere puzzled faces twinkle, appear and right here immediately vanish, in life modes hiding life from inevitability. Who are you hiding from, townspeople? There is no one here, all only complaints about your own amulets. Our laws are inscrutable. There was hidden yelp out of crowd. Yes, what are you? Form of human nomos is manifested by unwillingness and obedience. You do not like to kill only because you do not like to be killed, fear of being killed grown in you, covering with shadow incinerating sin of unconsciousness. This bestows calmness, but it is also thorns, accessible easy sacrifice for those whose appetite is irrepressible. Whose caprice is inconsolable. Look who's talking. You say as henchmen from other worlds. Their potatoes were covered with flowers. Where I was and where I could be, don't even know and did not see. With dragging fatigue of legs our motives poured into puddles. Abyss in soul, it is around and everywhere, but here is bottom and vertex. This is exactly place where unknown duskiness once lie down. A balancing optimum, initiative of unsettled harmony. By painful irony gives rise to source. Kinetically braided sunrise accrete with gaze. Reciprocity is non-made by hands, there is deity. Movement after movement, generation after generation. Only by this is Phil's essence. Otherwise she is not, she accelerated in endless fall. But suddenly in flight woke up, seen will by visible fate. In instant crowd suddenly dispersed, all around it was empty, such and remained. Here comes hell, overtakes with all embracing aftertaste of remnant, there is simply nothing here, nothing, neither greatness, nor modicum, nor ingenuity, is amorphous uncomfortability. They leave, they run, they despised my path, everything is lost and nothing can be returned. Not everyone will drown in my delirium, but I would wish for you at least dunk your eye, little and quietly, I won't tell anyone. Distant lights although shine, splendor for them is plenty, necessary conquests, otherwise is no plot, otherwise is no use to howling. Accomplishment raises measures and framing essence, namely in accomplishments are born all fatal gestures, of this world forms was able to bend. I would have survived, but not in this world, but not here, my liars carry my soul, posthumously and lifelong, begotten, is already immortal, but only until he died, nothing new, everything is as before, beauty and horror, no any rush, even light is nowhere no hurry, other tempos, different chronology, worldly cycles are destructively slow, although everything is already woven into this circle, omnipotent all-mistress despair, omnipotent absurdity with dead-end loops as decides and rules to fate, any disobedience that appears again and for first time. Which is by arbitrary antics to proclaim sense. I saw how doves of peace were motley flickering in flight and shit to chipped surface of beingness. I saw their mercy of nodding heads in marching processions, which is only good for tender pulp in pilaf and in soup. Likewise ticklish themes of inseparably narrative divination, flap and disappear, like wings in distance of heavenly heights. Any sound is smoothed out by outgoing wave, in passing rolling on mass of air, and we guests of universal depths, scatter bones and fluids, like dumb camels is spread to drooling among mirages on desert dunes in hopes of tasting moisture and seeing yet one morning. Someone's souls wash in each other and sing. We are lost in longing halls of parting, scattered in branches of winding harlot, or riddled in thirst for repentance, breaking against walls of dungeon erected in themselves. Dull ray of light streams through deposits of stored naivety. Needful to slip away along this thread, seep from subsoil, in splashing out stream. Lie down on thawed glaciers, alloy under pressure of bright luminary. So masses of flesh formations in murmuring rivulet are scattered. Over above horizon cloud of steam tends to endlessness of universe. In muffled whisper of darkness firmament sparkles, flickering intersections bring life closer to oblivion point blank. Avaricious idols quietly rustle and plunging, in bends of curvature flexible matter they imagine absolution from own solicitudes and burdens. Plots of all permissible scenes are painted, partitura is turned inside out by breath, fluctuates of change between death and lasting pain. Sound about exhaustion emanating in vain, unnecessary, to it is used. Neither receptivity nor admiration among drooping by wool. Resound moonlit howl with languishing buzz, heaviness of clod calls for itself. Pierce with silver that fallen from night by ashes. Smoke everywhere covers traces of writing lines. Where is source, where is fire? Outbreak flame hurling with whip of audacity, bleeds flesh, here is heat flow of accumulated bodily possessions, singing current by wounded soul. Suddenly, as if sweet dream, scattered, leads gaze to murmuring stream nearby, drowsy inspired out of place in twilight time. Coolness of alien evening, sliding out warmth of rays, last glimpses seeming, mind plunges into dream, but something holds it back, melted things, perishable body, dissolves in dance of rapture from a far-sounding voice, shadows cover from above, blur. Appearance from side that seen, behold cloud approaches slowly, is nothing more to forsake, script is last, nothing is come to conversely. Remember raven with broken wings, he is no hurry, but intently gazes around, sharp fright, all flesh shuddered, as snake sting invigorating, warmed up on warm sternum, lulled in breathing amplitude of sleeping waves. But universal hell is stronger than sleep, this abode cuts its contours through any semblances of reflected from world by essence in eyes gleams of astonishing creature. Scent of hair escapes, which in memory kept. Image of curly strands delicately touches face, by subsided wind penetrates. Source of gusts disappeared, it is not, only nerve fibers intertwining cling to nothingness. Dissolves voice of thought into silence, as if threads of silk strings are drowning in melisma. Residual dim by rising yowl from depth. At very bottom wounded someone, but he is not visible. Thirst no finds refuge, soars up to height from bottomless subsoil. But something remained, in heat by coolness as creeps caressing tired flesh. Before our eyes melts of infinity, like sugar crystal, diamonds of luminary are over them scattered. Who is she? For her this exclamation arose. I give her my life, subdued by glossing unexpectedness of moment. Under firmament, as if there is no anxiety, only bindweed vines sprout to drinking flesh juices. With roots heart was ripped out, flower swung opened, it touched through limitless from traction of continuous. Root which in soil languished as cannot hold it, and no one could not. Give me more strength, faceless, ascends by your love-grown fruit. I feeling movements are quiet, rolling of tides from all sides. Request was heard, if as distributed will from penetrated voice into unknown. There is no pain only in soulless sources, Life from its shackles escaped in sparks blazing with coloring of feelings. Thereby sun emerges from itself, dissipates ardor, disturbing universal quiescency with creative power. Night in hell. Of sliding out winnowing in day's whisper, glance bewitched by shape of night. Unacquainted mystery lurks in veil of shadows, blick of dark hair, eyes gloss in loneliness. Moment is drowning in her, but I'm like passerby, going and think about novelties. Or cling rustles of alleys, inhale aroma of plants, because they are also inherent in careful storage, of edges, that boldly overstepping with faithful doom in game. So acquires shape all living, so worn out world breaks off by fragile sides about soothsaying and becomes round. I am distracted from whole universe, into oblivion or issuance all unattainable contours. I don't know how much is allowed to us and whether there is in being, that place where by passion blatant ablution to captives of each other. But to know and believe don't want, this worthy only of feeling, like wild beast came first time into quicksand, through panicky fate devouring life by unified sigh. No one due to strength and no one can measure dominion of deliverance, as if disappeared everything, but nothing was lost, he does not let go to last, to utmost flesh exhausting, driving in veins fiery juice. I hear weaving speeches, rumor, this cannot be. Is it really possible in hellish palaces to capture something or meet someone? In cold smoke of vicious places swirl dialogues. Of those who enter in hellish circles, not everyone dares to come out. Colorful words cling by subcutaneous grace. Implore of flesh despotism by etude of not happened events. Once they were not here, in search as hints you can't find. Autopsy, more than ever in demand. Only such outcrop to reasons, inherent materiel. In childhood, behind verity of went beyond fences into hidden covering to look for its signs. By its also fenced off phased exit from carnal bends. Some do not see, as if not visible dream. So one day flares up light of pretext. Duration stretches along abyss. Continuous pursuit of pure vice. Cumulative incommensurable. Air fluctuate in threshold of letter lines. Silence is no one heard. So can't suspect of cause passerby. By quietness swallowed leaving. No punctuation in mouth, they are not scattered with letters. Interrupted in conversation, interrupted on paths. I heard where sea falls silent, where sinks nonsense of rustling fire. Look, here cloud leaving world, drowning in vastness. From it dripping crystal of rain. Difference in time is calculating by dynamism and spatial incoordination. But fleeting moment of exodus, bestowed of life rolling. Devils are sit playing cards, in their sacks as wounded souls oozing, sobbing, and demons spray in faces by this, are touched in hellish roast. Comes ringing of lower world gladness. I pass by, they feel good here, their drowning greediness is not worth worrying about. Parting with events forever, their traces are lost. And only by invisible threads of emerged by you creature. Canvas not covered with paints or strives to say something. In search of tones and shades, quietness is silent about main. No one will drop tale about what was found no be. Talk about losses, about detriment howls fear. This is whole point, small acquisition gives rise all-encompassing crash. Planet is enveloped by soul carelessness stingy, at incommensurability of universe didn't glancing. Equivalence to all costs. Behold is true scope, divinity of creator, by life of leads beyond cosmic boundary. Otherwise everything is subject to deprivation and unauthorized undergone, such an eventually smallest detriment been sinking ships from long ago. Force pressing vacuum to force of corpuscles balance is equal in their mutually resistance. Dizzy crackle of thunder and rustle of rain. falls to seething life, slip down from her eyes. Hell's mouth, devil's hound nods wearily. Unenlightened darkness, hopelessness and grief. Servants of abomination will never beget. They don't come, they don't go away. As if sea waves are frowning ashore, in sequence one by other. And cumbersome heaps of days, and of words unrestrained logorrhea. God-making plots are preyed by flesh thirst. Who views this spectacle, by what delight? Infinity is coherence to your phenomenon. Discoherence with idiots, they are flawless. Inconsolability of ineffectually tension under stale bark. This is not soulfully, but animality, rather underworld. Squeezing out bursts of emotion from unfinished canvases. And I am inconsolable, but by thought woven from fibers of eternity. Hellish hound rushes, barks, howls, squeals, I turn to him in order to calm defeated squeak by devil's fire. Head is dominating above universe. For beingness stirring. In thickened vessels. Along ruts of fiery rivers. Ascends sin after shrine. I give freedom to swearing, and to devils I give end. Let them feed on poetry torment, their stench let them sniff. In this heat no one has tickets, she is dressed with unrepeatable impeccability. Here are meanings, here are essence. No necessary for surrender, no need to drown, only weighing dimensionally recreates itself. Why, wherefore? My scope is wider. Scope that cannot be rounded. Admiring peaks, I wander at very bottom. Smell me, smell my scent, carelessly dedicated dog, I am with you, my sweetheart, I am with you, faithful friend. And shamble henceforth together, I and faithful dog, he sniffs neighborhoods of steaming hellish furrows. Shameful feeling of something missed, something exaggerated by insane fervor, but same shame as not. Where is it? Bushy questions, bushy answers. Everything is can't set out verbal, speech is detached thing, but multidimensional. Events, delights, horrors, nonsense, stupidities probably. Someone believed me, someone exaltedly swearing, someone humiliatingly entice. We create images, recreate them in feelings, in emotions, and this aftertaste is carefully selected by life expiration, like best wine, only because its tones flow through lips, through forerunner of all sources, impregnate flesh by juice from soil-ascended vines, by boozy aroma captivate. There is no other, and there has never been, but it also happens when wine not bring feeling of victory, it happens terrible sour. Necessary only retain in mind and fill moment by that not every measure teaches you to achieve, is experience, partly inapplicable and hopeless, partly blissful, and maybe too modest, but no one will prompt and no one to tell as long as life to infinity is given away. Your behavior, yours filling thy existence. Some call it soul, I nominate it God. I'm today drunk. From evils and honors. In pitted on heart hollows hover sketches of verses. Reveling by heat, redeemed by fire of vines exuded. By poison spills through shiver irreversible dance. It spreads in sinews, dissolves and speech brings out. Look upward. Wherefrom their injuries? Where do come vices? Life is permeated by blowing godlike. And eternity is silent, mocks. Such is her solicitude. Primordial extended without limits. Where can I find you? Where find you I can, O goddess? In duskiness of paralyzed phrases I search veritable image, unknown guise. Like corrosion I devastate world from myself. Not seen in temples, not found in underworld, in naked quietness I'm cutting with howl, invoke, only about love my oration folded. But as no in hell divinity, it is not here, not, and this feeling of amenability is sprayed in flame-bending psychical measures in ascending to heaven already with loose-out molecules. Entract. And by cases life appears, and in life happens everything. Every turnover of unprecedented form, by every curvature. You saw yourself, you saw whole world, imaginable edges unassailable. Regularized by reactivity to bedlam, riotous receptivity. Isn't it insanity been called organization or construction? Burdened to arrogance of gumption shining from beast. What kind of world without poetry? What a plastic crackle instead of ringing. It's as if I'm absence. This society for me is unsuitable, but here I am, in spiderweb of future pieces I playing of event in midst of epical bad weather. It should be so appropriate, all past, but every moment arising newness. When it becomes clear from first words, that speech does not contain essence, then conclusion, not that it suggests itself, it does not even arise. Voice was heard again, more beautiful which is not, and my stun heap ascends upward. Here and she, I was looking for, and here I met her, she heard my prayer, O my goddess, supreme indulgence, of universal generosity marvel. Just look at this gaze riveted to eternity, vulnerable like hymen, soaring like snow-white clouds, unshakably, untouched and tender, enveloping contiguity between worlds, between breathless and choking in blissfulness throes. Apotheosis of prostration in anticipation of ecstasies, rumpled of world that not taken form, it creaks and hole covered trembling in mixed dust with perspiration, languish wines unspilled, only with scabrous of paper fit in by spots penetrating, without words dispelled verses, by gentle elegance to smeared convolutions. Such was stage picture. In search of plot through epical window. What is plot to overtake by fate of ash? What's plot soars at stake? No one sees and no one can count, but everybody laceration vital essence, everyone is overwhelmed by it, innumerable, inseparable, with idea or without, everything lasts from and to, but that is unknown. To experience take is must in every jiffy undertaking. Who you are. Where are you? How does it feel? Deign. Otherwise lived whether, if by inseparable measure no framing to tread. If loss is not life, then what is it? Probably deliverance, but this is also duration, until no absolution and matures, that to let go not want, and needlessly, if it not hold back, and curling by law measure line upon emptiness.